Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Wait a minute, hold on 1 second. Yeah, that's better. Okay, hold on. Close it up. Hey, Ophiuchus, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? And the children, as children of Ophiuchus. Okay, thank y'all. Appreciate it. Okay, um, for confirming a lot of things for me, and let me know I'm not alone. And I did study the agenda. Okay, I did study the agenda and why things have to be in place for a certain season, and the time is near, time is now, and I appreciate that. And yeah, a lot of things was going to hurt us to find out that actually was true. So yeah, that kind of threw me for a loop. But I appreciate y'all telling me, you know, calm down. We got this. We all got this. You know. Um, Again, thanks. Appreciate that. But I want to say I was thinking about tarot, and I didn't put it on the title because I didn't want to disrespect anybody, and any of us who does it, and a lot of have good intentions when they do it, and some don't. Some using their hurt from things that happen, and some know. Okay, some know why they don't do certain signs or whatever. But I was thinking about, is it a cheat sheet for enemies and people to conjure up things to stop it? And how do you, okay, for instance, we doing these readings for people, ourselves, whatever. And here come our enemies and those that I spoke of in other videos that know, and they don't know everything, okay? And just like whoever that is just showed up, high spy, and they take it and find a way to mess it up. What's been read for you to give you the heads up. So how do you go about hearing the excuse me, hearing the message and then taking it and tweaking it? That's what I advise to anybody who's listening to the tarot readers tell you stuff, the ones that do care about you. Okay. And you have to be discerned on that too, of the ones that don't care about you. Okay. um, you have to hear it, and you have to take it, and you have to find a way, because the enemies and the other people that got their agenda gonna try to thinking you're gonna follow through with what's being done. Because I told you they could see yesterday what they see. They say yesterday what you're gonna do today. And I think it's on, like I said, it's only a certain amount of hours that they can follow you through that day to find out what you're gonna do. So it's like take it and tweak it. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying before, like if somebody, like your instincts tell you don't go out that front door, go out the back. Somebody is waiting for you in the front door. Don't get in that car, don't drive to work today, catch the bus, stuff like that. So you're going to have to really use your intuition. You're going to have to really, they might be listening, might have the ones that been here, like I say, past lives with you that you don't know, they remember everything, but they can't remember and stop everything. They're going to go by what you did from the past lives you were here. Okay. So if you keep switching it up, you know what I'm saying? And then and fooling, okay? Being clever now. Being clever as a fox. That's what that's what you're teaching. That's what you're teaching. When I read the information, that's what you're teaching. So yeah. My advice, like Ophiuchus teaching, you have to be in certain position for certain things. Okay, so you have to be clever for what you're doing and what you hear, because they're always looking, they're always listening. They have their little people in place, their little imps that they done mess with their minds to mess with you, to stop you of your day. I hope I looked at some of the movies I've been talking about. Yeah. I had found something too, and I think this has to do with a lot of big cities and maybe why some of them are going through more punishment than others. Where did I find it at? It's got to do with the crowdedness of the place. Um, bystander syndrome. Uh, they created for you to live in a city and make the city overcrowded and put the buildings and everything on top of each other, the apartments or whatever on top of each other. And they made it, this is different countries and cities. And they made it with so many people until they call it bystander syndrome and chronic hero syndrome. Okay. Um, like the incident when the lady got raped on the bus and nobody helped her. I don't know if he had a weapon, he had a gun, I don't know what the deal was. And they put their phones out and filmed it. That's bystander syndrome. Okay. It was by being, you would think by being a crowd that they would help and get snatched off, but no, that's not how they're programmed. They're programmed with a lot of people till you're going to say, well, if I don't help, he'll help. And he's saying, if I don't help, he'll help, on down to nobody helps. And they watch crimes going every day because they think somebody else is going to do it. You know, yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting about that. Uh, yeah, I thought I had more on that. Let's see. Okay, the hero syndrome. Create the situation, then solve it. So what makes these type of people get away with it are so-called better than you. People who work with them and write the laws, like I said, of some of from the future. Remember and make the laws of their agenda. Help these people, all creating ways to keep them on top and you at the bottom. Go one, okay, hero syndrome. We got firemen, we got police, we got the government, we got doctors, lawyers, scientists, pharmacists. I mean, on and on and on, solving a problem. But if there is no problem, they're going to create a problem. You know, you didn't see in the movies, you didn't see how they do it. They're going to create a problem. And then they thinking some of them do the problem to create a solution for their agenda. Okay. But they also helping the other ones I mentioned keep the money flowing, keep it going. But to me, it's like, so people, I mean, whoever, go that far to keep an agenda going, and they don't care who they hurt, who they crush. Uh, it's been told that the bombs, nuclear bombs or whatever, could hurt space. They don't care. Different things that they do to Mother Earth. Uh, rocket ships off, holes in the earth, different things they do, told them it hurt earth. They don't care. Taking all out the earth, out the minerals, whatever it may be, the gold, whatever, for your agenda. They don't care. You know, still trying to see what this Earth really is. Is it a spaceship? Is it, you know, really around Earth? Uh, you try to really pay attention to what's going on around you, and you try to live and let live. But you can have your opinion, so nobody should knock you from that. You have your opinion on stuff. You have the right to have your opinion on stuff. You have the right to uh, say, and look around and say what you feel about something. That's supposed to be freedom of speech, right? You know, but that bystander syndrome, that's why you see people getting hurt and the whole people be around, you know. Another one I wanted to say um, about the United Nations. Laws of the United Nations. International law and justice. Peace, dignity, and equality on the earth planet. From the Central African Republic to South Sudan and the Syria and Yemen to Afghanistan and beyond, warring parties have indiscriminately or deliberately attacked schools, hospitals, essential water infrastructure, used children as human shields, recruited children into armed groups and state forces, killed civilians with chemical weapons, raped and sexually exploited women and children. Geneva Conventions of 1949 are among the most important treaties ensuring the principle that wars have limits. At the heart of international humanitarian law, they bring, it's right, humanitarian law. They bring protection to persons not or no longer participating in hostilities. International law and justice. Among the greatest achievements of the United Nations is development of a body of international law which is central to promoting economic and social development, as well as to advancing international peace and security. The international law is enshrined in conventions, treaties, and standards. Many of the treaties brought about the United Nations form the basis of the law that governs relations among nations. While the work of the UN in this area does not always receive attention, it has a daily impact on the lives of people everywhere. The Charter, the United Nations specifically calls on organizations to help in the settlement of international disputes by peaceful means, including retribution and judgmental settlements. Article 33. To encourage the progressive development in international law and its codification. Article 13. And 3 is coming up, ain't that something? Over the years, more than 500 multilateral treaties have been deposited with the UN Secretary General. Many other treaties are deposited with governors or other entities. The treaties cover a broad range of subject matters such as human rights, disarmament, and protection of the environment. The General Assembly as a forum for adopting multilateral treaties. Say, what are some of these treaties? Okay, let's see. The General Assembly is composed of representatives for each UN member state and its main deliberative body on materials relating to international law. Many multilateral treaties are in fact adopted by the General Assembly and subsequently open for signature and ratification. The legal sixth community assists the work of the General Assembly by providing advance on substantive legal matters. The community is also made up of representatives from the UN member states. The General Assembly has adopted several unilateral treaties throughout its history, including Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Crime of Genocide, 1948, so they're not supposed to do that anymore, right? International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, 1965, okay? International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966. International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966. Convention on Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, 1979. United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, 1982. Convention on the Rights of the Child, 1989. Com- compens- compens- Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treatment, 1996. International Convention for the Suppression of the Financing of Terrorism, 1999. International Convention for the Suppression of Acts of Nuclear Terrorism, 2005. Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, 2006. United Nations Convention on Contracts for the International Carriage of Goods widely or partly by sea, 2008. Optional Protocol to the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 2008. In many areas, the legal work of the United Nations has been pioneering addressing problems as they take on an international dimension. The UN has been at the forefront of efforts to provide a legal framework in such areas as protecting the environment, regulating migrant labor, curbing drug trafficking, and combating terrorism. This work continues today as international law assumes a more central role across a wider spectrum of issues, including human rights, law, and international humanitarian laws. Okay, so let's look at humanitarian laws. What are the humanitarian laws?
According to Wikipedia, international humanitarian law, also referred to as the laws of armed conflict, is the law that regulates the conduct of war.
Okay, let's see. Sometimes they want to give you something you can't read. PDF. Okay. What is international humanitarian laws? The international, hold on, yeah. Okay. Distraction. ICRC. Commit International Geneve, Geneve. International humanitarian law is a set of rules which seek for humanitarian reasons to limit the effects of armed conflict. It protects persons who are not or are no longer participating in the hostilities and restrictions the means and methods of war. International humanitarian law is also known as the law of war or the law of armed conflict. International humanitarian law is a part of international law, which is the body of rules governing relations between states. International law is contained in agreements between states, treaties, or conventions, and customary rules, which consist of state practices considered by them as legal binding and in general principles. And international humanitarian law applies to armed conflicts. It does not regulate whether a state may actually use force. This is governed by an important but distinct part of international law set out in the United Nations Charter. Excuse me. Where did the international humanitarian law originate? Um, International humanitarian law is rooted in the rules of ancient civilization and religions. War has always been subject to certain principles and customs. Universal codification of international humanitarian law began in the 19th century. Since then, states have agreed to a series of practical rules based on the bitter experience of modern warfare. These rules strike a carefree balance between humanitarian concerns and the military requirements of states. As the international community has governed, an increasing number of states have contributed to the development of these rules. International humanitarian laws forms today a universal body of law. There's international humanitarian laws to be found. A major part of international humanitarian law is contained in the four Geneva Conventions, 1949. Nearly every state in the world has agreed to be bound by them. Nearly every state in the world. Nearly. The conventions have been developed and supplemented by two further agreements. The additional protocols of 1977 relating to the protection of victims of armed conflict. Other agreements prohibit the use of certain weapons and military tactics and protect certain categories of people and goods. These agreements include the 1954 Convention for the Protection of Cultural Property in the event of armed conflict, plus its two protocols. So it says, okay, let's read that again. A 1954 Convention for the Protection of Cultural Properties. Hold on, y'all, my daughter called. Hello? 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 Oh, okay. I thought today was Saturday, child, please. Whew. All right. What is wrong with him? All right. Okay. All right. Be quiet, little boy. Sorry about that. Okay. In 1954, Convention for the Protection of Cultural Property. So cultural property is what? 1954. In the event of armed armed conflict, 1972. Let's just start with that. Let me take a picture. Left completely. That sounds society. Okay. So it's the heritage. Now, what do you mean by cultural property? Okay, it says universal definition. What do you mean by cultural property? Definition. This definition reads: cultural property means property which, on religious or circular grounds, is specifically designated by each state as being of importance for orthodoxy. Make sure everything stays in place in case you've been coming over there and digging it up, right? Am I right? Why is it important? identity and humanitarian. Historical cities, cultural ceremonies transcend human generations. So all those things make up the culture of that place, helping construct a sense of social cohesion and reinforcing an individual and collecting sense of identity and humanitarian. So you have identity if you keep things around you. That's why Africa is requesting all of their stuff back, different going through the humanitarian. Okay, we use that as an example. Cultural properties, struck iron, arts, and crafts. Tangible cultural properties, folk cultural properties, monuments, cultural landscapes, preservation districts for groups of historical buildings. So all of these things. So the United Nations has a humanitarian. Okay. But anyway, so use this tarot. I say we messed up again. Y'all funny. Y'all so funny. Let's see what we got. What's happening? What's falling out? You might not look. There's no laughing matter. Business, arrogant, powerful. Aries. I know they are very arrogant, very powerful. Mm-hmm. You see they holding it in their hand, don't you? A pendulum. Pentagram. Then they got that. Don't take your blindfolds off. Take them off for what? Peace and harmony. Need to take the blindfolds off. Keep reassessing the situation at hand. Stay blind. Use your intuition. Gut feeling. Take this the way you take it. Do what you gotta do. Okay. Because they don't like us being happy. What they trying to do with this rainbow and what it really means. Kind of ways, I have no problem with that. None at all. Love is key above everything. But to make somebody be one way, that it goes, the connection unstable. But to make people be one way, that's what I have a problem with. The way you handle your problems, your burdens, and they want to give you some, y'all do too. Okay. Taking my family bloodline got to come through and help you. Came back again, your connection is unstable. Your bloodline is gonna be the one to come through and wipe them tears away. Okay. Yeah. They can still, they can have the whole world in their hands, whatever it may be. But there are certain rules that's going to be followed. Okay. No matter how much they might want to march and take over and whatever, but this was reversed. Certain things. So stand on guard. And they might try to guard around you. But this you. Time to be wiser. Wiser as above, so below. Know who you are, what you need to do, what power you have. Okay. Which I'm pretty Ophiuchus, y'all already know. Y'all showing me. I'm just telling the ones who don't know. Okay. Sometimes you gotta watch who is around you. It's your mate. Okay. You have to pay attention now. You're an empress. Higher than an empress, really. Or emperor. You came here, you're abundant with everything you possibly need. Learn how to pull that out of you also. Pull it out of you. Know who you are. Okay? Pull it out of you. Clean yourself, detox, fast, whatever you need to do. Mother Nature's plants, get all of that out that they've been putting in for years and you didn't know. But now you know that everything has been poisoned unless you've been, eating healthy stuff all the time. But that's what I got for now. Let's see what the other ones come out. Let's see if anything else. So you know the enemy heals too. They've been messing with all the time. And I got two of them right here. Nestor Kapustin, and the other one is German or Russian. NOR.NGO. They want to be seen. NUR.F. Look. And this is also a Ophiuchus. Don't get fucked up. That's how we got to be. Feminine energy to get this business. Still here on this 3D world. So they tell us. Okay. Don't be unwise. Be wise. Okay. Be wise. Got obstacles they're going to throw at you. They ain't going to want you to change. They're going to use tactics that you need to study and find out for yourself. It's ancient. They've been doing this a long time. You've been here too, majority of us, and they don't like. You see what shape it in, and that could be feminine energy as well. Both of them reverse, and this could be just a certain type of group in general. So stay on your path. Do what you need to do, cause you do shine. Look at this, and the sun came right behind. Okay. Don't punish yourself. Don't worry. Stay strong. Don't be weak. Yeah, some smell fishy. They're going to try to do whatever, protect your babies. Okay? It's a new chapter. They're going to try to make you an ankle, keep the cycle going around, try to keep you ungrounded. But the ancestors, make sure y'all don't let them pull up stuff like I just showed you that the United Nations supposed to help you keep historical things. They try to tell that to a place that I just moved from. If they would find all the historical places in that neighborhood, he could have went and the lawyer could have went who know knowledgeable and fought and said it's a historical district. Don't fool with it. And the people will be allowed to um, get the funding, the grant money to fix their neighborhood up. But nobody wanted to listen. The ones who knew this and had an agenda and didn't want others to go up because they was using others and programming others and they wanted to stay on top. They didn't allow this to happen. So guess what? A whole nother group came in that they allowed to take over. They didn't want nothing to change. They were unloyal, evil people. They didn't want nobody to do nothing. Turn everything upside down. Upside down. Boy, you turn me inside out and round and round. Well, y'all, that's what I got. Just want to thank y'all for letting me come to my senses and know that I'm on the right track. And watch the BS. Look, today is 2/2/2/2/2. Check it out. 1st 21 2022. Okay. And then the time 12:46:13. Wow. All right, love y'all. Thanks a whole bunch. I appreciate y'all. And for who understands, understands. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we got to go through some more. And for all the other ones that's bad agenda, All right, love y'all. Bye.